Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Sailing Inland Seas. I'm James, this is Kat, and this is our boat. So a little bit about why we're here. We have started watching sailing vlogs. A lot of them, yes. It started for me with White Spot Pirates and Untie the Lines. Now we watch Abandoned Comfort, Learning the Lines, and Languma, and there's a lot of them out there. And we noticed some trends. And we weren't really the person, other than being, myself primarily, being avid sailors that they were really pointed at. We don't really have any desire to quit our jobs and get on a boat and sail the Caribbean for the rest of our lives. We have much more modest ambitions when it comes to sailing. And I think it's really important that that voice is heard, because I don't think it is right now. When a small boat is 27 feet, yeah, that's big. Yeah. This boat is 15 feet long. And I'm going to do a boat tour here in a few minutes. I'm going to show you the space that we're going to be occupying for this series. And just kind of talk about the weekend warriors of sailing, who take sailing seriously, but not quit our jobs, let's go to the Caribbean and live on a boat for the rest of our lives seriously. Yeah. So that is what this series is about. This is primarily going to act as the video portion of my current blog, which I will put the link down in the doobly-doo, inlandpacket.blogspot.com. I've been following that for, like 7 years now. I think I've had that blog up, and it covers my boat building and my sailing adventures, and a little bit about that. The name Sailing Inland Seas is because I live an hour and a half south of Flathead Lake, Montana. Flathead Lake being the largest naturally occurring body of fresh water west of the Mississippi, and it is very much like an inland sea. And that's where the primary bit of our adventures are going to happen.
Yeah.
However, exciting news, one of the big things that is coming up within the next year is that we are going to the Pocket Yacht Palooza in 2019 in Port Townsend, Washington. And then we're going to do the Palooza Cruiser, or whatever cruiser name it is, which is the 3-night, 2-day sail they do in that area. Yeah. So this is kind of a lead up to that and eventually beyond. But this is what we're preparing for. And we're going to take you guys on that journey in a 15-foot boat on inland seas. So I'll introduce you to the boat, and I'll tell you what it is that I've been doing. Welcome to the boat as she stands. We drove this last weekend. We drove 1,400 miles down to Beaver, Utah, from where we're based here in Missoula, Montana, to pick up this boat. It was an ordeal, and it's not something that we want to repeat anytime soon. So let's talk a little bit about it. This is the prototype, the first actual build that got in the water, as far as we're aware, of the Jim Michalik Fat Cat 2. It's 15 feet, cuddy cabin up front. We'll show you that in a second. Gaff rig based on traditional cat boats. I believe it's a cat boat. I'd call it a cat. I mean, it's cat rigged.
It's a cat boat.
It's a cat boat. We're gonna call it a cat boat because that's what it is. And we're just gonna go a little bit about it. We'll start at the back and we'll move our way forward. This is the end of the boat, the stern of the boat. Oh, and another thing that we've done is we've sailed before.
Yes.
We've sailed before. That's another big thing, is that we have sailed before. A lot of small boats. So, what the lady is doing is she's opening up our rear compartment. This is a flotation box back here. Beyond that, you can see the 1953 light Evinrude light twin motor, 3 horsepower that comes with it. That motor is currently, as we're making this blog, for sale. If there's anyone in the Missoula vicinity or the Montana vicinity who's interested in a 3 horsepower 2-stroke motor, a vintage collectible in really good condition, let us know in the comments below. I'm looking to sell it. I'm a motivated seller. Anyway, this is here. I'm actually going to get some light in there. Let's open up this other. There are 2 ways actually to get to this. This is the other one. And we're going to try to, there we go. Oh, hold on. There we go. So this is the rear compartment here. There's the motor well there, and you can just see that there's just basically storage back here. And then tiller, main sheet, Has a full electrical system in it. I'm going to be doing some work on that. One thing that I'm going to be talking about a lot in this video as we work on things is lines, and the fact that I've been doing a lot of changing with the lines. So the boat came back, we set it up here. I actually have to drive to a parking lot to get the mast up because I don't have space here because trees. Where's the other one of those? Oh, there it is. Okay. So you'll see here, you can see the main sheet right there. All of the lines on this boat suffer. This boat sat in Las Vegas for a couple of years, originally from Illinois. The owner, former owner, Mike, moved to Las Vegas, and then this boat was in the sun for a while, and it did not treat this boat very nicely. So this main sheet here at one time was probably that very silky, smooth yacht braid that we're all used to, but sitting in the sun has turned it very, very sticky, very, very gummy. I was actually, the typesetter, if you read my blog, you'll know who that is. The typesetter and I were parking lot sailing yesterday, and this literally sucked all of the moisture out of my hands. This will be replaced post-haste as quickly as we can. Originally, so this is being stored here. Originally, there was a cleat here, and there was another cleat. You can see the holes for it down there, and it was wrapped around. And one thing that I am very big on is, because primarily I spend a lot of my time reading Napoleonic naval fiction, is that things are supposed to be a certain way. And on a sailboat, you coil ropes properly and then you hang them. So that's what's happening to all of my lines. So if we look here, along here, you can see, so originally there were cleats here, and there was a cleat here and a cleat there, and you just wrap them around. And while that works very, very good in transport, to be actively sailing while you're doing that is kind of a recipe for disaster. So what I did is I took all those cleats out. I'm going to go through with wood putty this weekend, and I'm going to fill in all of those holes. And then all of these lines are going to be replaced. This is 1/4 inch basic utility line. This is, I think, 3/8 also. These are going to be replaced with yacht braid, either nylon or polyester, depending on what I'm using it for. But these are going to get to the nice in-hand ropes that I'm used to. My previous vessel was a Lido 14. And we're going to go with some of the lines that I used off of that because I really like their feel. So, 15 feet long. We have a cuddy cabin. And we're going to go into that now. If you want to unlock that, dear. Slip over there. So one of the things that I absolutely adore about this is that this is like properly yachty. It's one of the really great things about it. So she's just going to open that there. Pop that out, right? And then this slides back, and of course your boards come out. We want to build a bag that fits those. Oh, that's another thing that I did, was I installed the level gauge to know how much heel we're putting on. Boat likes about 15 feet of heel. So anyway, here's the interior cabin. It's about the same size as a 2-person tent. If you're successful sleeping in that, you'll be successful sleeping in this. Has a full electrical system. It's being run by a battery up front, which I need to charge before we do our sea trials. But there you can see the lights. And I've got exterior lights too. The battery for all of the lights is forward there. The strap holds the battery in place. Yeah. First aid kit. I've got a marine radio over here somewhere. We're just working on getting this ready. I'm going to get custom cushions made for the interior. Right now we just have some of our cloaks, but get a custom interior made so that it's comfortable to sleep. There are a couple of options that we're looking at. One would possibly be to have them custom cushions made. The other is to use an existing cushion we have that would in fact probably fit. So there's that. So let's move back to the cockpit here. Lockers. We have locker storage on each side, held in place by bungees here. We'll get some halves, but here you can see this is the port locker. Moving forward, we have a battery box here, just currently acting as storage here. And then over here, I'm gonna put that back on here. It's fun to do a holding a camera for sure. And then there's the port, or the starboard locker that we have. So we have a fair amount of stowage in here, as far as that goes. Next up, here you can see some more of the, just of the general boat and whatnot. So this is a beautifully made Duckworks Dacron sail, 138 squares, I believe, gaff rig. It has a very unique mast raising system, which enables one person to raise the mast all by themselves and also to put it down again. We'll do a video on that a bit later, but all in all, it's an excellent little boat. We're gonna do probably an exterior tour once we get it out of our boat yard, which is, as you can see, slightly hemmed in by automobiles and whatnot. So, oh look at, there's a very pretty boat. Look at that. So that is pretty much a very quick interior tour of our boat. So that is just a very brief introduction to ourselves and to this boat. We are a couple who sailed before, who have no interest in sailing the Caribbean for any extended period of time. If we sail the Caribbean, we're going to go there and then sail. Yes. But this is just going to be a log, basically, of our adventures here in the Big Sky Country and near environs on a small boat, because you don't need a 27-foot sailboat in order to live your sailing dreams. And I know that you can get one for $1,500 on Craigslist, and it's going to be amazing, and you're going to follow through. But, you know, we got a boat that's pretty much turnkey ready. We're just making it suit ourselves. It was a lot less expensive than that, with, to a point, a lot fewer dangers. And if you're just truly getting started in sailing, then this is a boat you can learn to sail in, you can learn to overnight in, you can learn some of the tricks of the trade before you decide you want that 27-footer off of Craigslist.
The other difference for this blog is that our budget is a lot smaller.
Our budget is incredibly much smaller. We are not going to get into the numbers to the extent that some of them did to prove that you can do this. Needless to say, this is one of those moments when people are like, well, this, and I'm like, well, I have a sailboat, because you can have a sailboat too, and honestly, for a lot less, if you, I don't know, perhaps build it yourself maybe. And we'll be covering some of this, building your own sailboat, even if it's a small sailboat, just to get you on the water. One thing that I'm passionate about is small boat sailing and getting people on the water, because it's a lot easier to get to that 24-foot, 27, 32-foot if you scale down. You start with the 8-foot, the 14-foot, the 15-foot boat. Yeah. And that's one thing that I want this channel to do. So that's our somewhat brief introduction. I will put a link to the actual blog itself, Sailing in the Seas, in the doobly-doo below. There will also be a link on how you can donate a cup of coffee to the cause, because, you know, I really don't at this stage want a Patreon account. That's not what I'm looking for. But hey, if you want to get us gas money to get up to Flathead, which is a 98-mile one-way trip for us to go sailing every time. But hey, if you want to throw that in or give us the ability to have coffee on our way up here, that would be great. There's a link down below. So, other than that, I'm James. This is Kat. She's referred to as the lady on my blog. This is us. This is our boat, and there'll be more adventures to come. So please, thank you for watching. Stay tuned.